What's up, everyone? This is the Next Day Podcast, episode 190 with Mikel, and
And Tanyka.
where we have conversations on different topics. So, on today's episode, we're doing a three-topic type of episode today, and we will present you with the topics of today's episode. Tanyka?
So we're going to be talking about 5 natural drinks that can reverse prediabetes. Doug Ford slams the Prime Minister for review of Notwithstanding clause. And Rogers customers complain of customer service nightmare. And I have a bonus.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're going to be talking about.
I'm gonna have the same thing,
Okay.
including an update as well. So,
Okay. I
yeah.
think I know what the update will be about.
Yeah.
Okay, so 5 natural drinks. So, while a lot of us tend to think that prediabetes is not a cause for much worry, which I would disagree with that, the
Mhm,
fact of the matter is that prediabetes is a warning sign for your body, a wake-up call that your blood sugar levels, while not dangerously high, are still high and should be brought under control without further delay.
mhm,
Um, Usually, the first line for prediabetes is not medication, rather a complete overhaul of lifestyle and diet to push the numbers back to their normal range. Apart from this, exercise too is a powerful tool to reverse prediabetes and keep blood sugar levels under check. And when it comes to diet, there are 5 natural drinks that can help, though they are not a replacement for medication and should be taken along with other lifestyle changes. Um, the second stage of prediabetes, that is full-blown diabetes, is usually not reversible and can lead to other lifestyle issues as well. Now, I disagree
uh,
that more so we're talking type 2 diabetes. I disagree that that can't be reversed. It
uh,
100% can be reversed. Um, my uncle, who's now passed away, but did not pass
right,
away from anything about this,
mhm,
he was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes.
mm,
He reversed it. He changed his lifestyle. He cut back on the alcohol that make a drink, and he
so,
changed his lifestyle in terms of eating. He went out for walks and he reversed his diabetes.
mm,
Um, it may not necessarily go away in a sense, but you can get yourself back to normal levels. My mom, pre being in the hospital, her levels were really high because she also has type 2 diabetes. Her levels were really high. Her levels had gone as high at one point as, I think, 20 or 21. That's the highest her blood sugar levels were,
mhm,
um, since being diagnosed. Now, with a lot, because again, even pre-hospital, her levels were still in, like, the mid-teens, mid to late teens. Now my mom's levels are as low as I'd say the lowest she said she's seen it at is 7.9, which is fantastic. It's still obviously in the high
pretty good.
levels, but it's amazing for my mom.
It's
It's
good.
amazing how quickly the change happened for her
Yeah, it's great
over the
news.
last few months. Yeah, so that's what I mean by, like, this article saying it's not reversible. It can be reversed.
Well, it may be like, false articles that are there. So,
Yeah,
basically,
yeah,
you
and again, with if you are taking medications like metformin, for example,
mhm,
or Ozempic, which is also another diabetic drug, that helps with your, blood sugar levels.
mhm,
Um, but again, like, if you worry about your levels, if you have, history of diabetes in your family like I do on
mhm,
both sides of my family, if you have other things like PCOS, for example, definitely get a blood sugar monitor and monitor your blood sugar levels, and
right,
yeah, that's what I do. I have a blood sugar monitor, and I
mhm, mhm,
don't monitor all the time, but I do monitor because my levels are usually within normal range, sometimes can be low.
Mhm.
Very rare do I see it high, and again, my high is, like, 7. I think the highest I've been was 7.9, and I'm like, "What the heck is this?" And this was
Mhm.
before
Mhm.
I'd even had a meal. Like,
Mhm.
"What the heck is going on?"
Mhm. Mhm.
That is not normal for me, but that,
Mhm.
definitely just do that, and then if you see those levels creeping up and they're staying up, then you know, like, time to go over to the doctor and see what's going
Mhm.
on and check,
Mhm.
like, your A1C,
Mhm.
and fasting glucose. But anyway, um, so the natural drinks. So cinnamon tea, yum, yum, or just
Mhm.
even adding cinnamon to anything you can. So cinnamon is packed with molecules that, in effect, help get rid of extra glucose from the bloodstream. Habitual sipping of a cinnamon-infused tea has been shown to temper insulin resistance and lower fasting blood sugar levels. I think we talked
Mhm.
about this actually about cinnamon tea.
Yeah.
Um, a time-tested method involves letting a teaspoon of ground cinnamon steep in water, then drinking the resulting infusion first thing in the morning. You know what? I know what I'm going to start doing. That sounds fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Moreover,
was oh, go ahead. Go no,
no,
go
no,
ahead.
no, go ahead.
Well, I was taught, like, cinnamon, what when I was younger, I was taught cinnamon wasn't good for you because I feel like it was some type of sugar, right? Like,
No,
but it's actually when
it's
I
so
start
good for you.
yeah, when
And
I start
honestly, like,
mhm,
cinnamon is like, for me, for example, when I make my oatmeal,
mhm,
I I mean, before I used to still put a lot of sugar in too, but now I've dialed it back a lot with, like,
mhm,
using white sugar,
mhm,
and same thing with brown sugar, like, brown sugar is not much better than white sugar, um, but I dial back the sugar, and I just douse my oatmeal in
mm,
cinnamon
mhm,
because I know it's so much better for you, and it
mhm,
gives you that taste that you are trying to get with putting
yeah,
regular white sugar,
yeah,
and, and then also with, was it sorry, I'm getting distracted. My emails are going off. But yeah, the
it's all good.
the cinnamon gives you that taste that you're looking for,
Mhm, mhm,
um, yeah, you're not making, like, the sugar, come into the mix and
mhm,
creating that badness that you don't want. So, no, I never really thought much about cinnamon,
mhm,
honestly.
uh-huh,
Um, it probably wasn't until I was in high school that I was kind of, or maybe even late teens, when I found that, like, cinnamon was, like, good for you, and I honestly, like, I'll bleep her name out when I say it, but it was who told
mm,
me
mhm,
that cinnamon is good for you, because I think her mom was diabetic, if I remember correctly,
yeah,
so I think that's how she knew,
mm,
and I was just like, "Oh," and that's kind of what I've been doing ever since, is dousing my oatmeal
yeah,
with cinnamon. Um, so yeah, like, it's so much better for you, for sure.
mhm, mhm,
Um, anyways. Um, all right, moreover, research points out that cinnamon's antioxidants combats both inflammation and oxidative stress, both of which are linked to the metabolic disturbances seen in prediabetes.
right,
Besides its knack for keeping blood sugar steady, cinnamon also lends a hand to heart health, trimming cholesterol and triglyceride levels, both pivotal to metabolic wellness. Another one I'm sure we've talked about as well, green tea. Another one is packed with polyphenols, such as, that's a word that I'm not going to try and say, so we're going to say this, EGCG, which help the body use insulin efficiently and curb the gut's absorption of glucose. Drinking it each morning without any added sugar has been linked to normal blood sugar levels and a boost in metabolic function. Over a period of time, sipping tea may lower the odds of developing type 2 diabetes. Its antioxidant blend also tends to support heart health by improving circulation and trimming cholesterol, an excellent benefit for those managing prediabetes. Amla juice. So, amla, also known as Indian gooseberry, brims with vitamin C and a host of antioxidants. A daily habit of sipping diluted amla juice in the morning can soften stress and reduce inflammation, two forces that often hamper blood sugar regulation. Scientific findings suggest that the juice bolsters insulin activity, helping
Mhm.
glucose stay within a decent range all day long. Moreover, this plant based drink gives our defenses a boost and guards the body against the complications tied to prediabetes and diabetes. By curbing inflammation and fine-tuning metabolic health, amla is an excellent well, that's not proper English,
Mhm.
is
Mhm.
excellent for blood sugar control diet. Bitter gourd juice, which I feel like my mom used to drink this too.
Mhm.
Fair warning, y'all, it doesn't taste that good. Doesn't taste that good, but we'll talk about it anyways.
Mhm.
Um, so bitter gourd, known as Carilla, brims with compounds like cheratin and polypeptide P that cooks the body into soaking up glucose
Mhm.
efficiently and make better use of insulin. A morning glass of its juice can, on its own, help smooth out blood sugar swings. Since its taste is quite bitter, many prefer to have it diluted. You can also mix it with amla juice, which not mellows the flavor, that again doesn't make sense, but also adds a further health kick. Research points to the fact that making gourd juice a regular part of the diet can noticeably drop blood sugar levels while giving a lift to kidney and liver function, which is also important when you're diabetic, both of which can bring down sugar levels. With that mix of benefits, Coriella juice is a good option to keep prediabetes from slipping into full blown diabetes. Fenugreek water. Fenugreek seeds consist of a generous amount of fiber and bioactive compounds that can sharpen insulin performance. Taking a glass of fenugreek infused water first thing in the morning before breakfast may slow the sugar spike post meals. To whip up the drink, simply let a teaspoon of the seeds sit in water overnight, and in the morning, sip the liquid and either discard or chew the soaked seeds. Research has consistently proved fenugreek's ability to aid blood sugar regulation and reduce cholesterol, making it a powerful drink for blood sugar control. Its fiber also eases insulin resistance in the fight to reverse prediabetes. And then again, we've mentioned it earlier in the article, but exercise is also important.
Yeah,
So
very
that's a
important.
yeah. And again, like I say this for prediabetes, and
Mhm.
that's was a reality for me for a very quick second. But
Mhm. Mhm.
um, PCOS, all of that is also a reality for people with
Right.
PCOS, even if you're not diabetic. Um, if you know the type of the PCOS that you have, whether because we talked about inflammation in this article, we talked about the insulin resistance. So those things can help with that
Mhm.
as well. Um, but yeah, that is that.
Yeah.
Did you want to
So
do yours?
yeah, yeah, I'll do mines. So, here is an update on Artemis 2. Basically, a couple days ago, um, it was live streamed on Netflix that they reached around the moon. And basically they uh took pictures of it, and I sent you the pictures, Tanika.
Yes.
And there were so many pictures on Twitter, on Reddit, etc., on Instagram as well. And there I couldn't tell which one was like AI, fake, or whatever. But as soon as NASA and ABC News over America was presenting like the pictures, those pictures that I gave you the pack of pictures, the last ones were real. The
Okay.
first couple ones were just basically, I think it was kind of like AI, I believe, because
Mhm.
like yeah, I just couldn't tell because people were just posting. I was like, and then they post a color moon. I was like, isn't that AI? So, but yeah, the pictures from NASA and ABC News were like the official ones, and they turned out really well. uh, some of the crew also took a picture from their phones as well. So, and it turned out really well. Um, Another thing too is that this today is the day that they do the splashdown landing. So I can now say that they safely reached that landing down by the Pacific Ocean
Mhm.
of the coast of San Diego. So eight, so 8 o'clock, 8:07 p.m. I think that's Pacific time of
Sorry,
five
what time did
o'clock.
you say?
Yeah. So sorry, 8:07 p.m. Eastern.
That's Eastern Standard,
Yeah,
yeah.
Eastern time. So Pacific time is basically 5:07 p.m.
Mhm. Yeah.
So yeah, they reached safely in the Pacific Ocean, and then I think the military would have to like get them and basically save them in a like some type of hub or cube or something like that. And I'm seeing it. It has balloons around it. So yeah, sorry, the U.S. Navy ship. U.S. Navy got them, not the military. So um, but yeah, it's a successful trip. I can imagine um that they are relieved that this was successful and they reached home safely. So um yeah. But during the time that um Jeremy, who's the Canadian um in the crew, did talk to the prime minister, and he was basically fan what do you call it? Fan I wouldn't say fan not fantasizing, but like basically uh fanboying, like people just
Okay.
like, you know, he was fanboy. He was like excited basically to talk to Jeremy because like as all of us, like we're excited to about like, space and and what's out there. So basically, uh yeah, it was a successful trip and I'm looking forward to the other Artemis projects that will come from NASA in the future. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's it for me with
Okay.
this. Yeah.
Okay. Did you see did you watch them touch down?
Yes, I was watching him touchdown uh before we started the this episode, and yeah, it's yeah, they're all safely and all together safely in with the U.S. Navy. So um, imagine they're probably getting warm and everything. So basically, somewhere on the ship. So and then been taken home. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they were in the shuttle for
Mhm.
a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
The one thing I didn't know is that Jeremy's not the only Canadian that has reached either space or
oh, no.
no, yeah. It's just
No,
been
no,
like
no.
I didn't know there was like been like 10, right? 10 Canadians in the
Mhm.
past. I was like, oh wow, okay, I didn't know that. And Will and Shatner was one of them. I was like, when did he went to the
He went
moon?
into space?
Space? I was like, oh yeah. I think it was the SpaceX one?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, I can't yeah, yeah, he did.
I don't know if I count
Yeah.
William Shatner, no
Yeah.
offense. Um,
Yeah, yeah, I know. But like yeah, it's insane. Like I didn't know there were like 10 Canadians that did that. I know what's his name did it. Let me just say 10 Canadians. But what are you excited for when it comes to like space? Uh
I don't know how to answer that really,
mhm,
but, um, I don't know, it's not about having one particular thing that I'm excited about when it comes to space, it's just the fascination of
mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
of what's up there. That's
Mhm.
it. Like, there's not really one thing that fascinates me or
Mhm.
I'm excited about, you know? Space is unpredictable too.
Mm.
So, and, yeah, I
Mhm.
don't know how to answer that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I actually wanna know if there's actually something out there, and,
Like, you
I'm
mean
not.
aliens?
Yeah, that too, and,
Uh, I
what's
don't
up.
think there are aliens in the sense that we think there are
Yeah.
aliens, but do I
Y
think there's life on different planets? Yes,
hmm.
that I do believe. And life on different planets doesn't have to mean green aliens. I'm talking,
Mhm.
even vegetation of some sort or whatever, because that's life. So, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, I would like to step on the moon one day or walk on the moon
I don't know if I
one
want
day,
that.
but you don't want that?
No, I don't want to necessarily. No, I don't want to necessarily
And
go on the moon. That's not something that necessarily excites me.
mhm.
Um, honestly,
Um,
being in space myself doesn't necessarily excite me. I think it
really?
would, yeah, I think it would create more anxiety for me to get up there that I
Mm,
couldn't really enjoy it. Like, I don't know.
mhm,
I like being on Earth. um, of course, if, the world ends and we're all in a Wally movie or something, then that's a different conversation for a different time. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really
mhm,
particularly want to go out there.
mhm.
Um, yeah, I don't know, man. I
Yeah.
don't know. I've watched too many space movies to know how this can end.
Yeah, I want
So,
you watch Apollo 13. That was the last space movie I ever watched. Apollo
yeah, that
13, I
was
don't think. Yeah, that's basically represents space, not the Marvel movies that like the
no, no,
Guardians of
no,
the
no. I'm
Galaxy.
not.
Yeah,
No, no, no,
yeah,
no, no.
yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, I would say Apollo 13. That's the one with Bruce Willis, right?
I think that's what is that what George Clooney or is it what?
No, George Clooney is in that one. I think isn't George Clooney the one with Sandra Bullock? Well,
Oh,
which one
oh
was
yeah,
that
I
called?
got it mixed up.
Yeah, that one. What was that one called? I can't remember what that one's called, but I couldn't handle watching that movie because it just made you feel very dizzy, so I
Mhm.
couldn't do that one. But Apollo 13, I think that's the one with Bruce Willis, I believe. And
Oh, it's
like he's the
Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks was
oh
Apollo
Tom
13.
Hanks is Apollo 13.
Yeah, my bad.
Okay, so no,
Apologize.
so it wasn't that. I did see Apollo 13 too, but it was the one with Bruce Willis. Why is it not coming to me?
Mhm.
Frig. And like the soundtrack was done
Let
by
me see.
Aerosmith. Yeah, we all know I'm singing the song in my head and I'm seeing Bruce Willis in my head too.
Mhm.
Cause spoiler alert, he sacrificed himself. That's the one with
Is it
Bruce
Armageddon?
yes, I think it's
Yes, that's him.
Armageddon.
Yeah, that's the movie, yeah.
Yeah, with him and Ben Affleck, I believe, is in
Mhm,
it too.
mhm, mhm.
Um I wanna say what's her face because I can't remember her name right now either, but
Yeah, yeah,
Steven Tyler's
Liv
daughter is in it.
Liv Taylor.
Liv Taylor, thank you. And,
Yeah,
so yeah, yeah, that's a really good movie. If no one's seen that, please go watch it, it's really good. Mind
yeah.
you, I just spoiled it for you, but the movie's, like, 20 plus years old. Come on
Mhm.
now. Um,
And there's a new one with, what's his name?
with Ryan,
Project yeah, Ryan
Gosling.
Gosling. Project Hail Mary.
That
Yeah,
that sounds it looks so, like I don't know
yeah,
what to expect with that movie. It looks very
yeah.
I don't understand it, but anyways, I know it's a book too, so the book was
Mhm,
popular, but,
mhm.
um, yeah, there's that one, and then I know there was, like, a horror
Yeah,
type movie surrounding space as well. Um, I can't remember who was in that one, but I remember there being something like that too.
mhm.
But not even just that too, like I mentioned that I watched, 911 and they had, like, a very, um Uh, what's the women that went up in space? It was very reminiscent of that storyline,
Mhm.
but of course they have to make it exciting for television, and, they got stuck up there. So, like,
You mean the Blue Origin?
it was kinda like the Blue Origin
Yeah.
type storyline, but
Mhm,
except it
mhm,
was obviously fictional. But, it, they got stuck up there, and I'm just like,
mhm,
"Listen,
mhm,
space is not for me. It's not for me." And then, like, one of them came back with, like, a weird ass,
mhm,
um, medical condition from being up in space. Like, "Nah,
mhm.
you know what? I'm happy being right down here on Earth." So
I mean, it'll be cool to see what like I'm not saying aliens or whatever. It'd be cool to
no,
see,
I get
you
it. It
know,
would
like,
be. It
to
would be
like
cool.
to find out like, you know, what it looks like out there. Like
Mhm.
I understand like we saw like the moon and what it looks like, but like what it actually when you go on the moon, right?
Yeah.
I wanna see. So I wanna see that. But
But I
but yeah,
didn't realize with this because, like, 'cause I was thinking about it too, and I was talking to my mom about it because
mhm, mhm,
she watched a little bit more of them touching down than I did, and I wanna go
right.
back and watch it
Yeah.
because with everything kinda going on in my personal life right now, which obviously we just talked about off air or off recording, that, I didn't have time to deal with it, to watch it.
Mhm, mhm.
But I was thinking about it, and I'm just like, the Canadians not the Canadians, humans have been on the moon before. We
Yeah,
we've been on the moon
yeah.
before. But
Y
my mom was like, "But this was actually about the other side, the dark side of the moon." And I started singing the
yes,
Mulan song
yes.
when she said that. Um, it you do you know we are all singing it at the same time right now?
Mhm.
The dark side of the moon.
Yeah. Yeah, to reach the the farthest part of the moon, so that
Yeah,
yeah,
so
yeah,
that's cool for sure.
that's yeah, yeah. The and I think, I'm not like, I did say the Artemis, like, 3 and 4. I'm not sure if I probably got that backwards, but,
Isn't it Artemis
um,
too?
there will be 3 and 4. Artemis
Okay, yeah,
2,
yeah.
yeah, 3 and 4. I don't know if one of them is going to the actual moon. I did say they did
One
say
will
in the
be
last
going to the
episode.
moon, but they're going to be
Yes.
doing I believe from what my mom told me, they're going to be doing,
Mhm,
um, a trip out there to the moon, I think she said every 6 months or maybe it's 6 months to a year,
mhm.
and
Yeah,
then in 2028 is when they're gonna actually land on the moon. That's what she told me
okay, yeah,
based
okay,
on what she was watching today, so
mm. Yeah,
I'll
'cause
trust her.
yeah, okay. That sounds good. Because 'cause
Yeah.
I'll be tuned in to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't know if we'll, like, as humans, as a human race, I don't think we're ever gonna, like I don't think my lifetime is gonna in my lifetime, I'm going to ever gonna be reaching into, touching the moon, ever.
Well,
I meant possibly the other generation, like, Generation Alpha or, the generation after that will probably reach the moon,
I don't
but
think it will ever be readily accessible to people that they can
you
go and
don't think
touch the
so?
moon. No. I think
Hmm,
it's going to be accessible to people who can afford to do it, but it's not gonna be
mm,
accessible to people just all willy-nilly,
mm,
I just don't think that like, think about the fact that, like I mean, maybe this is still too soon to talk about,
right.
but think about the people wanting to go and see the shipwreck of Titanic. Do you know how expensive that journey is? It is ridiculously expensive to do so.
Shipwreck, isn't
Um,
that under the
yes, but people
the
are doing it. Well,
Oh, wow.
people have done it. Obviously, we know how what happened when people tried to use the Titan, and we all know
Mhm,
how that turned out. But yes, people have been trying to see it because, especially now, um, there's such like I don't know if urgency is the right word to use, but there's
mhm,
this urgency to get down there and see it if you haven't experienced that. Because in the next 20 years or even less than 20 years from now, the Titanic is going to be gone.
mm,
So That's why
Well,
people are kind of, like, wanting to see it, but imagine you're paying hundreds of millions of dollars to stay here on Earth
mhm.
and go, below sea level to see a shipwreck.
So wait,
Um,
are they
Imagine how
removing
much
it?
that would be to go to the moon.
So are they removing the the
No, it's gonna
Titan?
be disintegrated.
This is oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it's because of the fact that it's well, think about it this way,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
Obviously, it's a ship, it's a little bit different, but if sorry, guys, this is morbid, but if you put a body in water,
mhm,
it's not gonna look like how you think a person would have looked.
mm,
It's gonna either be bloated or, like, whatever.
right.
It's gonna change how you looked in life.
Mhm,
So, with the ship, it's first of all, A, it doesn't look like how it did when it was above sea level, but
yeah, 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 yeah,
right?
yeah,
But
it's yeah, it's
it because
well,
of the water, and we're also dealing with
the
salt
pressure level.
water because
Yeah.
it's an ocean.
Mm,
It's and also, yes, the fact that it's very low down.
mm,
It's really not safe for anyone to be going down there, but it's
mm, mm,
very, very low down. So the water
mm.
pressure, the lower you get, obviously, the heavier the
Yeah.
water is.
Mhm,
So all of that in mind, it is it's disintegrating. And what like with the what we I don't know what the ship looks like now. I only know from my imaging that I've seen was really just from like the movie, which was 30
mhm,
years ago.
uh-huh,
And even then it didn't I'm sure it didn't look like how it looked when I first went down there. And I think even now in the last 30 years, it's disintegrated so much that it
um,
doesn't look like how it looked like in the movie when they would, because that was real
no,
footage of the
uh,
ship, right? It doesn't look like
obviously
that no more.
yeah, no, no, obviously, it wouldn't look like that
Yeah. So
now,
another
right?
so
Yeah,
another
no,
20
uh,
years, they're saying it's gonna be gone,
mm,
which
interesting,
is absolutely insane, but that
yeah,
is what's gonna happen. But yeah, it's gonna be gone.
hmm, yeah.
So
I would think, like, when, space becomes more accessible, like, in the future, like, I
I
think it
don't
will
think it
probably be
ever will be
cheaper.
that accessible though.
Hmm.
I think you think it will. I don't think it will.
I think it
I
like,
don't think it will.
not in my
I
lifetime
don't
or
think in
probably
any
Jen's.
lifetime.
Hmm,
It's
I
not
don't
a
know.
cheap endeavor, and I don't think it will ever be considered a cheap
Hmm.
endeavor.
I don't
I don't think me and you,
I don't
people in our income bracket, is ever going to be able to afford to go out
oh,
in
no. No,
space.
I wouldn't think it would be, like, 29.99 going up straight. I think it'll
No.
probably be around, like, thousands of dollars, in my
Yeah, but
opinion.
the average person doesn't have that kind of money.
Yeah, I know, but, like, probably like, I would say either the middle class or the higher class will probably just, like, go into, like, space, like, in the future and, you know, have that type of access. Just like how, like, how trains, like, are, the most expensive trains, like, those ones that have, like, the old school look, and then you have the service in there, right? Um, I think it's not the Via trains that we have. It's the that old school train that we have in, the Union that comes and you have to pay like $10,000 for the service or whatever,
I don't
right?
know what that is.
I can't remember what train that is. Let me just do it. But yeah, like I just think it would be at that uh price point, in my opinion, probably be
Yeah,
thousands
but
of
again, you
dollars.
said middle class, that's not considered
No, not
middle
middle class.
class. That's celebrities. Those
I
are
mean,
people who are well off. That's
but you,
that's not the
you
average
don't think that
person.
you don't think uh that would change in your future?
No, I don't
That
think
would be
so.
middle class in the future, like
No, I don't
five
think
thou
so.
5,000,
No.
$10,000.
But
Okay.
again, even that, $5,000, the average person doesn't
Mhm.
have that readily available. I don't know about you, but I'm would be considered middle class, and I don't have $5,000 just
I
hanging around. And $5,000, yeah, I mean, I don't. the end of the day, I still don't think a trip into space is gonna cost only $5,000. This isn't like you're traveling from Canada to Italy or something where that can cost $5,000. We're talking about going to space.
I mean,
And
I
and that's also not and we talked about in the
mhm,
last episode as well.
yeah.
This isn't an easy trip out into space. It's very dangerous.
I un I
And
under I understand that. I understand what you're saying, but right now, it's like, dangerous, etcetera, all this stuff,
it's
but I
always
like
going to be that way. That's
hold
never
hold
changing.
hold on. When technology advances in the future, I'm not saying on our timeline, but when technology advances, etcetera, in the future,
Okay. No,
maybe
because I'm not talking about technology.
mhm,
The technology is never going to change the fact that our atmosphere is what makes it dangerous. The atmosphere does not care about technology changing. So I don't agree with that. I don't think that is ever changing because it's not about what we're using that to bring us up there. It's about the danger of the atmosphere and the fact that the atmosphere is what is causing that danger. Because you're entering into there's a pocket between Earth and going into space. That is very dangerous for when you're going up there. That isn't going away.
yeah,
And I
but
don't
understand
think technology is gonna change
but
that danger.
don't you think technology has improved since the first Apollo until to
But you're
Artemis? Like,
talking about something that's technology, yes, has changed, but that danger hasn't.
I
So
understand
I
that
don't
danger
think
has
you're
happened.
understanding,
But
like,
I
this
understand.
it's
Well,
science.
I understand, but that's what they're working towards for it to be more accessible. Even like, even though I don't agree with
Accessibility
what
and safety is 2 different things.
yeah, uh,
It could be more
yeah,
accessible, but doesn't change this the danger.
I understand it doesn't
Not
change
saying
danger,
that
but like
it's not you can't do it, obviously
uh-huh.
you can, but
Mhm.
there is still a danger
Yeah,
that
there is I
that
think they
ship could
I do
explode.
mhm. I do think NASA knows that. You
Of
know,
course they know that.
that's why the funding that's why the government is funding for NASA like the the people's taxpayers money's funding
But that
NASA.
doesn't
But like
change that doesn't I am not questioning the
mhm,
funding, I'm not
mhm,
questioning technology,
mhm,
I'm not questioning any of
mhm,
that.
mhm,
I'm not arguing about that part
mhm, mhm,
because I agree, yes, that
mhm,
is one thing.
mhm.
What I am talking about is just the basic knowledge of the Earth's atmosphere. That doesn't change because technology is changing.
But
That is
don't
always going to be there.
yeah,
Technology can't stop a spaceship from potentially exploding because of the atmosphere, and it had happened. So that's what I'm trying to get to.
mhm,
And again, it's not like it was I'm sure it potentially could have been exploding before, but
mhm,
first person who landed on the moon,
mhm,
that was what, in the '60s? They were able to do it.
mhm,
Yes, there's a danger, but they were able to do it.
mhm,
Then we fast forward 30 or so years later,
mhm,
and a spaceship is exploding. So you're talking about technology changing. Technology has definitely
mhm,
changed in 30 years from the
mhm,
'60s to the '90s
mhm,
or whenever that explosion happened. That's my point. Technology can change, and of
mhm,
course technology can change, and
mhm,
maybe they can make it just a little bit better, but
mhm.
it's still not gonna change that if something is off with the takeoff, with the ship,
Oh,
with all of that, that doesn't change the fact that those things can still happen and create a risk, and potentially a ship can explode.
I
Anytime I've watched this ship go up, we're watching too and to be sure that
yeah,
they're getting up there safely.
yeah, and I think NASA or, SpaceX understands those situations. That's why they probably do tests every single day. They
Yeah, I'm
do
sure they
studies,
tested back in the
they look in
'90s, and
they
it
still
still
do it now.
happened.
They still do it every single day. They
Yeah,
still do it every single day right now.
I get that,
Yeah,
but
yeah. it
it doesn't change the fact that there's always that risk, and
yeah.
there's always that possibility that that could happen again.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
No, no, like, definitely, they know that. They
I'm not
I
questioning whether they know
yeah,
that, I know they
yeah.
know that. The average person who doesn't work at NASA knows that.
Mhm.
Um, we learn that in elementary school. We know this. So, but what I'm trying to get at, I think you have, um, and I'm trying to figure out the right word.
Mhm.
I think you have this trust in technology can stop that from happening.
I'm not
Technology
saying it
isn't
can
the answer to all,
I'm not saying that it can stop that from I'm just
but
saying that
that's
it
what
can
I
have
think that's
safeguards
what
and
I'm
it's safe
saying.
it can have safeguards, safety towards it. I'm saying that, like, it could happen, but, like, that's why I'm saying, like, technology could, improve, or like, it can improve over time. I'm not saying, like, it will
I don't
happen.
know. I
Y
don't
yeah,
you
yeah,
can think that I'm
yeah.
personally going based off of what I know, what I've
Mhm,
learned about the
mhm,
Earth's atmosphere,
mhm,
and that spot in between, you know, getting past, regular, I can't remember the terminology that they use,
mhm,
but being in that spot of just about to exit the Earth's atmosphere and going into space,
mhm.
it is
I mean
it is literally a pressure cooker,
I
and
mean
it's the same idea when you're coming back. You're literally in a pressure cooker
yeah,
as you are you're f when think of it this way, those astronauts who came back down today,
mhm,
it's essentially as if they're in a meteor. They're like a meteor coming back
yeah,
down to Earth, and any misstep could have
mhm,
gone really bad.
mhm,
Not just for them, but for anyone that's below and something like some form of debris can
mhm,
fall on somebody.
mhm,
So that's what I'm trying to get at is those that isn't gonna change at any point because the earth is the earth and atmosphere is the atmosphere. Like that's not changing. Yes, you can do what you can to fix that, but there's always going to be that danger. That danger isn't going away just because you're doing something different or trying to make
mhm,
it better or whatever. You can do all that in the world,
mhm.
but that danger is still there. So
Like I said,
that's all I'm saying.
yeah, I know what you're saying. The danger will always be there, but like I said, I think they already know that,
Okay,
and
well, it
I
doesn't
think
have to be a but.
yeah,
We can agree. We're
mhm,
pretty much saying the same thing.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah,
what I'm trying to say to you is the danger is always there. I
yeah. I
agree with
know.
you. The technology
Mhm,
is there to
mhm,
hopefully make that better, make
mhm,
that safer and
mhm.
whatever. But what I'm saying is the danger is always there.
Yeah.
It's not to going away. That's all I'm saying. And
Okay.
that is always gonna be that way long before we're gone off this planet. Like, it's always gonna be there. Because if it's not there, the planet Earth is gone.
Mhm.
So you need that to be there.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's always gonna be there, and it's always,
Mhm. Well,
we
NASA
need it there.
yeah. NASA's working towards, like, like, that this is why they're doing all these tests, right? Uh, they're working for where there's a future where humans can access onto space, So, like,
But
both NASA and
what
SpaceX.
I think you're thinking that it's gonna be accessible for people to travel up into space all they want. I don't think that's what NASA's testing. I think, yes, they're testing whether or not humans can get up there, but I think they're testing in case of something were to happen with Earth. We've
That
been
too.
hearing
No,
about
no, no,
this
no,
for
no,
many
no, no. I'm not saying
right?
that's the only. I'm not saying that that's the
But
only
that's what I
reason.
think is really going on.
That and yeah, they're doing, research and other stuff as well. Obviously, yeah, that I'm not saying that only they're trying to do that for just get humans to have access to only to go to space, right? I'm just saying that they're probably doing more than, that as well. So, like, I mean, we've gone to space numerous of times. It's just like, going deeper to space. right? So, yeah, yeah. So hopefully, like I said, not in uh, our time, possibly after Generation Alpha, possibly they'll probably you know go into space. I'm not sure if they're going deep into space, but we have done it multiple times where we go into space. Blue Origin has done it, or
We're
Origin
not
Blue.
talking about Blue Origin.
Yeah,
I
because
don't
like
freaking count, I'm sorry.
Will Shatner and all those, that was a different type of crew that was with Will Shatner, right? So he was
That was
part
all
of
paid by
another
Jeff
group.
Bezos, that's a very different situation, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, but yeah, yeah. So basically, we reached
Hell,
space and
even Elon Musk is more credible in this situation than
mhm,
freaking
mhm,
Jeff Bezos, so
mhm.
not yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, yeah. I think reaching out to space is more uh accessible than reaching outer space, which is I find to kind of be like, I might take some time to to do more research and see what's out there, etc. So, but um, yeah, that's pretty much it for this. Possibly in the near future, we might do some updates on like the Artemis like 3 or 4, 5 or etc. But yeah, pretty cool stuff, and that's good that the whole crew has reached safely to Earth, um and yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Now they have to acclimate to being back on Earth. Something you never really think about is,
Oh yeah.
um, my mom was when she was watching CBC and,
Mhm,
they had a couple of astronauts, one
mhm,
very recognizable that, has done multiple, trips out there, and
mhm,
you just don't think about them having to acclimate to being back on Earth, um, and some like, they said that some of the trips was about the same length as this one was, or some were longer, and, yeah, you just don't think about the fact that, like, you know,
mhm,
you have to remind your body that you're no longer in a ship floating anymore and stuff like that, so it's, just yeah, I just don't think about that as a
mhm,
person who doesn't go out to space.
mhm,
But anyway,
mhm. Yeah. So, yeah. Uh,
alright,
yeah.
let's
That's it.
go to the next topic. So, when Anil said, I think it's Sedha, decided to cancel his Rogers business internet service, he expected he'd go online, click a few buttons, and be done. But the customer support link was broken. A
Mhm,
chatbot told him he could only cancel by calling. Thus began what the Winnipeg man estimates was a 7-hour ordeal spread over several weeks. Last summer,
mhm,
trapped in a maze of hold music, dropped calls, and endless transfers between departments. Quote, it was a nonstop theme of we are having a heavy call volume. I tried calling at different times of the day and on different days. It don't matter what time of day or what day you're calling Rogers. It is always going to be a nightmare. Let's continue.
mhm,
No matter when he tried, he says the outcome was the same. Hours waiting, speaking to representatives who couldn't help, being disconnected mid call and starting all over again. How many days am I expected to call someone just to cancel a simple internet service? Has experience isn't unique. Not at all.
mhm,
Dozens of unhappy Rogers customers have recently written Go Public and posted on social media complaining about long wait times, complicated cancellation procedures, and poor service. Many question recent Rogers call center layoffs and complain about how three major providers, Rogers, Bell, and Telus, dominate the industry. Together, they control the majority of the country's mobile TV and internet market, a problem critics say was made more severe when Rogers was allowed to take over Shaw in 2023.
mhm,
Customer service experts say this lack of competition is precisely the problem. Quote, It reduces the need for these telcos to compete and to provide good customer service because they think customers need us. So we don't really need to do anything to improve our service. This is said by Eugene Chan, who's an associate professor at the Ted Rogers School of Management at Toronto Metropolitan University. A spokesperson for Rogers declined to speak on camera, of course he did, but said in a statement that the company has millions of customer interactions every month and works hard to deliver a great experience. So, in terms of those recent call center layoffs,
Mm.
while customers complained about poor customer service, Rogers appears to be reducing the number of people who handle those calls. The company recently ended its contract with FoundEver, a Miami based company that employed hundreds of Canadians who handled Rogers' customer service calls. Neither Rogers nor FoundEver will say exactly how many people were laid off, or whether those positions were moved elsewhere. Two former employees who lost their jobs in those layoffs say they were told in staff meetings that Rogers, like so many other large corporations, is driving digital adoption, which they believe means more use of AI.
Mm.
A lot of companies are trying to push the AI agenda. Anyways,
Yeah. Yeah.
both
But
said that much of their time in the past year was spent training AI systems,
mm,
basically to replace their jobs.
mm,
Using a tool called Agent Assist, the AI will listen to calls, generate notes, and
mhm,
even suggest troubleshooting steps to the employees. Agents
mhm,
had to approve or correct the AI's responses, a process monitored closely through their performance metrics on every call.
yeah,
Recently, they released something where it actually tells the agent what troubleshooting steps to take, one former employee explained.
mm,
It's hearing the customer's issues so the agent doesn't have to figure it out. CBC is not identifying the former employees because they fear professional repercussions. While AI may streamline operations for Rogers, the former worker said it risks removing the human element that many customers need. I think it's going to cause customers to feel the coldness, not the warmness from an agent, said the former customer service agent. If a family member has passed away and someone is calling in to close an account, how can AI have compassion?
mm,
Another former employee echoed the concern, saying Rogers' policy often requires agents to pitch offers or upsell customers, even during sensitive calls. He says human agents can decide not to do that, even though they might get in trouble, but suggested AI agents wouldn't make the distinction. Rogers says its investment in AI is enhancing its customer service by making it easier for agents to find solutions more efficiently.
yeah,
Rogers is under scrutiny by regulators because, as part of the conditions for the Shaw merger, the company has to create 3,000 jobs in Western Canada in 2027.
mm,
The telco giant says it's on track to achieve that, with more than 1,800 jobs already created, but the merger conditions don't prevent them from reducing staff in other regions. The recent layoffs at FoundEver don't count as a staff reduction at Rogers because they were contract employees. At the time of the merger, Rogers also promised to move overseas jobs back to Canada to provide 100% Canadian based customer service.
mm,
But now a Rogers spokesperson says the majority of agents are based in Canada. He wouldn't specify how many jobs have been moved offshore. Dealing with Rogers has also been exacerbating for Fran Monroe of Pender Island, BC. A few months ago, a technician arrived to replace her old modem, a routine service call that turned into a billing nightmare because it created a new account, while their old one was never closed. Did that happen to you?
what has
That, like,
happened?
a new account was created when you had to switch something over? Did that happen to you with Rogers?
No, that has
No?
never happened to me.
Okay.
Basically, has it happened to you? 'Cause
No, not that I know of, no.
because I'm with Rogers. The only time that actually that happens is when you are subscribed, and if you get, like, another, like, because I'm with Rogers Internet,
Mhm.
and the only time that, that came close to that happening is, like, one time, basically, I got a modem from Rogers, and they
Yeah.
were they were transitioning. So like they were Fido and Rogers were transitioning, and basically I got the modem because of that. I got a new modem, and then I contact Rogers, and then basically what they did is basically they canceled, I believe, the Rogers one, the Roger modem that I got, and then they also canceled the Fido one.
Right.
So
That's what happened, yeah.
yeah, that the first time I got it, and then I had to recall them to get another modem because that modem does not work
Right.
anymore because it's already canceled. So they sent me another modem, and then you know, I got 2 modems, and then I had to recall again and cancel the first one. So, yeah, that's what happened to me. So,
Freaking
uh,
nightmare.
yeah, that was a nightmare. That was happened, like, last year, I
I
believe,
believe so, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
'Cause I remember we couldn't record because we didn't have any internet.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
that was a fun time.
yeah,
Anyway,
yeah, yeah.
as a result, Monroe and her husband received bills for 2 separate accounts.
Mhm,
Despite paying the new bill each month,
mhm,
they continued to get overdue notices for the old account, and eventually they were given a warning that their service would be disconnected if they didn't pay. Like Sarah,
mhm,
she spent hours on hold, was repeatedly transferred between departments, and still couldn't find anyone who could fix the problem or even explain what went wrong. I wasted a lot of time and some sleepless nights wondering, what am I doing wrong here? Why can't I not get in touch with anybody? It's just extremely frustrating. Then Rogers cut off the couple's television service, which
mhm,
Monroe suspects was due to the billing confusion. It was only after she contacted the Commission for Complaints for Telecom Television Services, CCTS, an independent ombudsman that handles unresolved telecom disputes, that they finally got help. The CCTS doesn't handle general customer service complaints, but was able to intervene because the issue involved billing errors. Rogers apologized for the frustrating experience, reduced Monroe's monthly bill by $40, and offered a one time $250 bill credit as a goodwill gesture. Monroe said she's relieved to have the situation resolved, but remains frustrated by how difficult it was to reach a solution.
mhm,
Meanwhile, other countries are mandating minimum levels of customer service and forcing companies to make it easier to cancel contracts. Spain is drafting legislation to force large companies to answer 95% of calls within 3 minutes and limit how automated systems are used. The EU is adopting rules to make it easier to cancel contracts, and Germany already requires companies to provide 2-click cancellation for many contracts.
mhm,
Canada has no such legislation, aside from a law that allows users to cancel mobile services simply by signing up with a new provider. Chan says the telcos don't need to provide good customer service because there are no rules to make them. They can get away with it in some ways because there's so few federal regulations that govern the customer service experience.
mhm,
Keldon Bester, executive director of the Canadian Anti-Monopoly Project, CAMP, says there should be legislation to ensure customers don't experience unnecessary friction when ending a service. It should be easy to cancel a service as it is to sign up for one. I agree.
mhm,
What's so complicated with just giving a simple I want to cancel button? In a statement to Go Public, a spokesperson for the Ministry of Innovation, Science and Economic Development Canada said the government has taken steps to make the industry more competitive, such as
mhm,
allowing telecom providers to steal internet on their competitors' networks. So,
mhm,
after weeks of frustration, Sadha finally learned that to cancel his service, he'd need to send an email, something no one had mentioned in his many previous calls.
mhm,
Quote, my first reaction was, are you kidding me? Because saved himself some time. A Rogers agent then said he would be dinged for another month of service because he
mhm,
had to send back the equipment, but Sadha pushed back and got that charge waived. said his ordeal ended in August only after he sent that final email and mailed back his equipment, after spending about 7 hours trying to reach someone at Rogers who could help. The
Mhm.
experience has left him with a nagging concern about how others might have to deal with the same problem. What if this were one of my family members, a senior person, or a new immigrant? How would they handle it? So that is that article.
Yeah, yeah, I noticed, like, a lot of tech companies are sorry, not hiring, but laying off a lot of, people, due to, like, tech AI technology. So, like, basically, that's insane. Like, the amount of, like, American tech companies that are just basically laying off a lot of people this year and
Mhm.
next possibly next year as well is insane.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, it's also kinda kinda sad, but most of the industry most of like, the jobs are coming from, like, customers, like customer service or, customer agents that, like, call centers as well that, are basically being replaced from AI. So, um, like I said, sad.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so
All right. So the third topic, um, Ontario Premier Doug Ford took aim at the federal government and judicial overreach
Mhm,
over a move to have the Supreme Court of Canada weigh in on provincial overuse of the Notwithstanding clause.
mhm,
Um, he added that federal and provincial parliaments should be supreme, meaning people are supreme, not judges ruling on stuff that shouldn't even be in front of the courts. Ford also took aim at Prime Minister Mark Carney and said the other premiers are also angry about the move. It's not just this premier, it's premiers across the country are on fire. This is the worst decision Prime Minister Carney has ever done, and it will be an absolute disaster.
okay,
Ford, sorry, go ahead.
so repeat that. What did, like, Mark Carney do again?
This has to do with the notwithstanding clause. So let me go back up here to the top. So Doug Ford
Mhm.
slams Mark Carney over request to review notwithstanding clause usage, calling it the worst decision the PM
So,
ever
like,
made.
what's the withstand clause pertaining to? Like,
So let me, 'cause I
yeah,
was actually
finish
going
it.
to do that, but let
Yeah.
me do it now.
Uh,
Um, notwithstanding clause. Okay. So the notwithstanding clause, which is section 33 of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms,
mhm,
allows Canadian federal or provincial governments to temporarily override particular fundamental rights and freedoms, shielding legislation from court challenges for 5-year renewable periods. It applies only to section 2, which is the fundamental freedoms, and 7 to 15, which is the legal equality rights of the Charter.
hmm,
So let's read a little further here. So the key aspects of the notwithstanding clause, it acts as a compromise between parliamentary supremacy and judicial reviews, allowing elected officials to have the final say on certain laws. Limitation, it cannot override democratic rights. So, for example, voting,
mhm,
mobility rights, or language rights. The duration, a declaration is valid for a maximum of 5 years, after which it must be reenacted. In terms of the usage, while the federal government has never used it, provinces like Quebec, it's always Quebec, and
mhm,
Ontario have used it to override rights. So it's been
hmm.
used. And then, in terms of the controversy, critics argue it erodes fundamental rights and bypasses judicial oversight, while proponents view it as a democratic tool.
Hmm.
So that's essentially what the notwithstanding clause is. And
What do
yeah,
you
he
what do you think? Like, what's your opinion on it? Because I don't think I have that much of an opinion on it. Do you think it will change, how we,
he-
do
here's my thing. we
Yeah.
have the Charter of Rights and Freedoms
Uh-huh.
to protect individuals' rights,
Mhm.
more so in particular when it has to do with companies, businesses, the government. That is why this was put in place in the first place. And we have talked about it briefly on the podcast because it's the start of Pierre Trudeau. So that that's the reason for it. Now, what I didn't know, maybe I didn't learn this too far into the
Mhm. Mhm.
and do my own learning of the charter, is I didn't realize that there was this notwithstanding clause, which essentially can, under certain circumstances, take away one's rights in a sense. So that I have a problem with.
Mhm.
But again, I think it should only be getting used in particular situations, and should not be getting used all willy-nilly, which
Mhm.
is why I think what I think Duck Ford is trying to do here is not have this be used all willy-nilly. I don't know the last time a
Right.
notwithstanding clause was used in this province. I'm not sure. Um, we can tell that just based on what I just read a few seconds ago was
Mhm. Mhm.
the other provinces have not used this clause, that the only ones that have is Ontario and Quebec,
Mhm.
which I'm not surprised by Quebec at all. But,
Mhm.
again, I don't know the last time Quebec used it either, so
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know if it's a good idea to kind of reevaluate its usage, and
Mhm.
I guess in a sense for it to be used a little bit more freeing. Like,
Mhm.
I don't know.
Maybe the prime minister will probably, rethink probably in the near future. Well, when did it, like, got changed? When did it, the
So I don't
bill.
know if it's necessarily been changed or if it's getting well, it is getting changed in a sense in terms of its usage,
Mhm.
but I'm just kind of reading through this right now.
Okay. Sounds good.
From
Should
the
get.
remarks and related news. Okay, he comments about was comments on him after Carney's Liberal government filed a factum, which is a legal document.
Mhm.
Um, Here's what it says for those people who need it: a written statement of fact and law. And I want to talk about factums right now, asking the Supreme Court of Canada to set limits on how the notwithstanding clause can be invoked. So, in terms, be used. The government argued that provincial overuse of the notwithstanding clause amounts to indirectly amending the Constitution. The factum was filed as part of a case on Quebec's Bill 21, known as the Secularism Law, secularism, which prohibits public sector workers in position of authority from wearing religious symbols while at work. Why?
Uh,
That's stupid.
uh,
The notwithstanding clause allows provincial governments to pass legislation that may conflict with charter rights. Because again, you have the right to your religion. It's right
huh,
there. Okay.
huh,
Conventionally, it has been used sparingly, but in recent years, provincial governments have used the clause more freely. Ford has used or threatened to use the notwithstanding clause multiple times in order to push through his government's agenda. Despite charter concerns. His government used the
huh,
clause to push through a law limiting third party election advertising in 2021. It also threatened to use it when it unilaterally shrunk the size of Toronto City Council in 2018 and when it moved to block a teacher strike in 2022.
huh,
Really funny, Doug. I mean, what's good for the goose ain't good for the gander, I guess? I don't know. Anyway, in his news conference, Ford said that Carney is wasting his time with the move and predicted it will never work. He also took aim at Canada's Attorney General, Sean Fraser, saying he should be focused instead on bail reform. We could do more than one thing.
Oh, yeah, I remember him saying this. You wanted, you wanted bill reform and for women to be able to use pepper spray as
Oh,
well.
yes,
I
yes,
remember
that
that
was, yeah,
conference. Yeah, that
yes.
he was
Which
yeah.
I agree with him on that. I was actually gonna be talking about that, I think, in a
Mhm.
later time too,
Mhm.
but I didn't
Mhm.
realize it was the same press conference. But, I agree with him. Why shouldn't I think women should be able to have pepper spray because you can't trust these men out here. Please.
Yeah, I think because it's a bit of a, you know,
It is a weapon. Let
yeah,
me make this very clear.
and that's a
Pepper
dangerous.
spray is a weapon,
Mhm,
and you could be charged with assault, let's be
mhm,
real,
mhm.
but hear me out. Just
Yeah,
hear me
yeah,
out on this
I
one.
think I know where you're going with this. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think you probably do.
Yeah.
If a man is coming into my space and threatening my peace
Mhm,
and is trying to hurt me, I could give 0 about the law. If I can't use pepper spray, well, then I'm gonna just probably make him unable to have children. Pick your pick your poison. You know what I mean? You're already a piece of shit if you're
mhm,
gonna come and try and attack a woman. So I could care less about your eyesight or your junk. Like I don't care. I'm gonna do both. I'm gonna pepper spray you and I'm gonna kick you in the balls. So
mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I understand that. I understand, but
And I think for
I,
him to kind of
yeah.
be like, let's think about women's safety here
Mhm,
because it's scary times right now to be a
mhm,
woman. It
mhm,
has always been a scary time to be a woman in this world. Um, why can't we have some pepper spray just to protect ourselves? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You know what? I agree with Ford. I agree with him. I do.
mhm.
I'm sorry. You can't change my mind on that. I'm
Yeah,
a
no,
woman.
no,
I'm not
no,
gonna change my
yeah.
mind on that.
I no, I understand that, but I think it would probably take time for them. They have more like the thing is that I feel like the government has more like probably more important stuff to look after.
I'm sorry,
Don't
what?
get me wrong, that's probably one of the most that probably is one of the most important stuff, but like you know, uh
You already said it. You already said it, there's more important things. I hear what
yeah,
you're
but
saying.
like
I
yeah,
hear what you're saying, but I think also
yeah.
what's important is also the safety of
Oh no,
its
yeah, no.
citizens as well, right?
Yeah. No, 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 no. I just say
Yeah.
like they have like a long list, and he just wanted to, he was calling them like, some like subliminally he was calling them like the government lazy. I'm like, okay, they're okay for it. You need to relax.
I wouldn't say it's lazy, it's just I
Yeah,
think that I don't wanna sound harsh or mean or anything, but oh well.
stalling. That's what he said. He's stalling. He said stalling.
Well, okay, I don't
Apparently
wanna say
stalling.
they're stalling or they're
Yeah,
lazy or whatever terms they're gonna use, but
yeah.
oh well, I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say here. Women's safety is always the last thing on the
Mhm,
agenda,
mhm, mhm,
and women have been dealing with this since the dawn of time. So, I I think it's about time that women's safety and us having something that can help save our lives is helpful. I
mhm,
do, I'm sorry, like, I can scream, I can yell and all of that, but if a person is going to come and with a gun or a knife and say, if I scream, I'm gonna kill you," or whatever the case is,
mhm,
I can have that pepper spray and not have to go anywhere near them, spray it in their eyes, and they're down for the count. Yeah, sure, I can still kick them in the balls, and they're still gonna be down for the count as well for that too, but eventually a man is going to gain his composure, get himself figured out, and they'll come after me. If I have pepper spray them, I mean, sure, they can still come after me, but they're gonna have a really hard time seeing where I am. So
mhm.
I am in 100% agreement with Ford on this. I am that
Oh no,
women's
yeah.
it's high time that women's safety is a priority.
I 100% agree. It's just like the way how he said it, like, "Oh, you will stop for the
Yeah,
government to
but
stop
also
stalling and
remember
get this done." Yeah,
he
yeah, I understand what you're saying.
he
I
has a
understand.
daughter, he has children,
Oh no, yeah,
like
yeah,
he's thinking
yeah.
about that. Like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, his daughter
Uh-huh.
is grown, she's married, she has her
Uh-huh.
life, but
Uh-huh.
anything could happen to her. She's just, you
Uh-huh.
I th I'm
I
sorry, you
understand
can't
that.
change my mind on this one. I
No. You
100%
don't
agree with him.
I'm not trying to change your
I
mind. It's just
agree
like
with his tactics on this point, I
I
agree with
feel
all
no,
of it.
I feel like I feel like what he made it sound like the government's doing nothing. So I'm
But
like,
I
nothing
do
at all.
think that.
You did?
I think
You think
so,
they're doing nothing, or they just have too much on their plate right now?
but I'm
Because like,
tired of that excuse even if it's true.
hmm,
I think what you maybe you just don't realize or you just don't think about as
hmm,
much because you have the privilege of being a man in this world is and I'm not saying that to be it's just a fact
hmm, hmm,
that the women's safety this is not like it's new. It's not like this just happened. This didn't just happen. We've been dealing with this, like I said, from the very beginning of women, God forbid, wanting to have some form of independence and be able to go and take a walk. It doesn't even matter now what time of day you do that. It doesn't matter. You can go for a walk at any time of day and it doesn't change anything. And this like this, I think, in most countries, but you hear obviously I hear more about it here in Canada as well as in the States. But women's safety and also just women being believed when things happen to us has always taken a back burner. And the government can say that they're doing something about it all they want. They've had decades and nothing's really changed. And the only thing that we can do is take things into our own hands to ensure our own safety. So to have whatever his agenda may be, his agenda could be for his own reasons, but I'll take it because if we're finally a man in power is like something's got to change for women's safety, that I'm gonna take it. Cause yeah, it does. I don't think you understood. Like I can only talk about from my own perspective, but even if I'm walking in the middle of the day, but like I'm by myself, there's not a lot of people around me, my head's always on a swivel. Even if I'm like walking, headphones in or whatever, my head's on a swivel because I don't know if someone's gonna come behind me. I don't know if someone's gonna try and hurt me. Your head's constantly on a swivel. I go and I take garbage outside. My head is on a swivel. I'm always watching and looking around my surroundings to be sure that someone isn't going to pop up somewhere and try to hurt me. And I I ask you not again not to be but to kind of understand for you to also understand from my perspective and for me to understand from your perspective too. Do you feel like your head has to constantly be on a swivel for danger?
um, for me, no,
No?
no, no. The I
Exactly.
I'm trying to say this. I understand what you're saying,
Mhm,
100%. I approve of the pepper spray and every single thing. I'm
mhm.
not against it or anything like that.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. It's just like it's just like I feel like yes, possibly the government is probably looking into it, but
Maybe, maybe not.
I'm just saying and if they were like this they're possibly doing like probably you know looking into it really, 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 closely, right? But there are also factors of dangers of having that type of weapon as well. I understand that that women's safety is concerning when it comes to, like, nighttime or et cetera, or, when it comes to going into an event or et cetera, you know? Yeah,
But
I
can you
understand.
also understand like, I understand what you're saying that the
Yeah,
pepper spray
yeah,
is a weapon and it's a
yeah,
dangerous one.
yeah, yeah,
Mind you, your eyes can get rinsed out, it's not the end of the world, like, you're not gonna lose your sight,
yeah,
but can you also understand from my perspective that if a man is coming at a woman
yeah.
with the intention to hurt her
Yeah,
in some way, shape, or
yeah,
form, why do you think a woman gives a shit about the safety of that man? Because he didn't care about the safety of the woman.
yeah,
So, although I understand what you're saying,
yeah,
it's pepper spray. It's not a taser. It's not a gun. You're not gonna
yeah.
die from it.
I
You're gonna have some pain in your eyes, but then it's
yeah.
gonna be dealt with.
So
There is a solution for pepper spray in your eyes. There isn't a solution for a woman potentially being raped
yeah.
or worse. There's no
So
solution for that.
yeah,
We have to live with
I
that.
I understand, but they're gonna have to make a rule to give it to people in general.
Well, no,
So
listen, there is gonna
he
have to be legislation and
yeah,
policies around
I
it as
he
everything else.
here's my option here. Women or people are allowed to use it at a certain time of like, a certain time, like a certain time limit. So like give it a time limit,
Certain
like at
time of what?
nighttime, like
No, I
nighttime
disagree
or
with that too.
really? You're saying
Absolutely.
all day?
You think that a person is only gonna try to attack a woman in the nighttime? No, that's not true. Gone are those days where
But
women are only
but
being attacked at night.
here's the thing. I'm trying to tell you, like, they're not just gonna give it to just women that make it available to women. They'll make it to available to all people,
Sure.
right? And including, like, possibly, uh, people who are teenagers, but they had to make a
Okay, but that's
rule.
but that's not a gender, so that's just the age group. If anything, they need it more than anyone else.
Yes, but I'm trying to tell you that they're not just gonna make it for just women in general.
Okay,
That
yeah, no, I
they're
don't disagree with that.
yeah, they're making it for everybody, like
Sure.
men,
Yeah, sure, yeah.
women,
Yeah, again, I don't
transgender,
disagree. I
everybody,
don't disagree with that.
right? So, like, either they put an
But why
age
did it need
limit
to be an
to it
age limit?
because, because people can be immature with the pepper spray. Like, for like a
But
10-year-old using like a 10-year-old gonna use it and, kids are, like, who are, like, like, immature with the pepper spray are gonna use it at
I
school
think you're
or in
giving
6
I think you're not giving enough credit to for people. Listen,
uh,
I know we come from school where a dumbass fool pepper sprayed the ventilation system. I don't know if you were there when that happened. I just know it
mm,
happened the year before I was
mm,
there.
do
So
do
I know that can happen.
mm, do did you not hear what happened in Whitby when someone just yelled, "Gone" in a theater? So if somebody like
But did
that
they think it was a
were to
but
do
did they
it,
think there was a gun?
that's well, the people in the theater? Yes. You don't you
Did someone actually physically see something that made them think the person had a gun?
if you're yelling that in the theater, that's
Mikel, you
dangerous.
have to understand, though, we are in a society where it is terrifying to even go into a movie theater. People have gone to a movie theater and
Yes.
shot up a movie theater. So
That's what I'm trying to tell you,
if
that's
someone
dangerous.
is no, but if someone truly believes that someone had a gun,
Mhm.
I can understand that fear. Because, like, I understand that. I think that's an honest mistake if they truly were doing it thinking that the person had a gun. If they
No,
did it purposefully to cause havoc, that's a different story.
no, hold on.
But if they
This per
did it because they truly thought the person had a gun,
mm-mm.
like,
This person did it. This person who was a prankster went into the one of the theater, rooms, yelled, "Gone," and
okay, so
people
then it was fake.
yes, and then
Okay,
that
that's
person got
different.
charged.
Okay, that's different. That's different. 'Cause that's what I
Yeah,
asked you, is that did
I
someone
I
truly believe the person had a gun
but
or was it fake?
what I'm trying to say is that, basically, there's people like that who are immature and thinking about people like that who are like, who are kids who probably use the pepper spray to do pranks, etc., all that stuff. That's why the government is probably worried about it, right? Worried about kids using it, kids or people in general using it as a prank or a weapon or a weapon that would take advantage of somebody. So like that's what the government's probably worried about. That's what I'm trying to say. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I guess again, like what I'm trying to think of is you can't think about the rotten apples in the bunch when most of those apples are good to go and are mature enough to understand the importance of using pepper spray and whatever. And because again,
Yeah.
unfortunately, the reality of this is women in general, yes, are at a high risk of potentially being attacked by someone of the opposite sex, but a lot of that can happen with young girls who are, in preteens or teens. Um, like I know that that was a reality at my high school, not my high school, my elementary school, where we're getting letters about some man coming into our school and hanging around the girls' bathroom. That happened. Or when I was 15, being trailed by two men in a van as I'm walking to my friend's house. And that's also another reality. And again, like I said, this was like well, I don't think it was a van, I think it was like a white truck,
Hmm.
like a
Okay.
like a moving type truck.
Hmm.
They could have grabbed me and put me in the back of that truck. So, and I didn't have anything. And it's not like I was walking far, like I was 5 minutes, if that. And like I said, again, if it wasn't for the fact that my friend
Hmm.
was hanging, was not, was at in her kitchen, which the window faced the street,
Hmm.
and saw what was happening, I don't know what would have happened because I was ignoring them. I was walking.
Hmm.
But they kept following me.
Hmm.
Sand was staying right by me. And yeah, like that's the reality. Like that's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
Um, and
I.
yes, you might worry about the people who maybe are immature
Hmm.
with something like that, but I'm thinking about the fact for those people who weren't protected, were ultimately either raped or worse by these disgusting men
Hmm.
who potentially, if they could have had something to protect them or help protect them, they didn't have access to that. I think about the girls that Paul Bernardo took advantage of. Imagine what they could have done if they were able to have pepper spray and they could have pepper sprayed that in the eyes. I don't care about Paul Bernardo and his safety. Him. Those men. Like, I'm sorry, but like, I hear you, but I also know my experience
Yeah. Yeah.
and what other women have been through.
Yeah. No. 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 I agree 100%. But
And
you
I
have to.
do
Yeah.
agree
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
Doug Ford saying, like, let's move this along.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
figure something. There are ways that you can do this.
it's a gray
But
area. I would say it's a,
instead of
it's a.
limiting it, whether by time or by
Mhm.
age,
Mhm.
you can ensure that it is being used in a defensive way. Um, and if it's not, then you charge them accordingly, because then it is assault. So there are ways that you can go about that that I think makes more sense, like what I just said, than limiting it by time of day or age. Like
You,
I
you,
just don't think that's I just I just
okay.
think young girls need it too.
Okay.
Young people in general need
All
it
right.
too.
Okay. So yeah, I'll change my idea on the time. The age is a maybe. Is a maybe to me. The time I will change that. I will actually change. So like Um, but age, maybe, maybe,
Yeah,
depending,
again, I
depend.
hear what you're saying, but at the same
I agree with like what you just said, like using it, like if a person's not using it for defense, then they could be charged. I agree
Yeah.
with that 100%.
Yeah, and again, you can still charge a child, like, they can still be charged,
Mhm,
but again, it's I guess for me, what, like, I'm thinking about is, young girls that have been victimized
mhm,
who were under the age of 13,
mhm.
you know?
Yeah,
Ted
yeah,
Ted Bundy had a 12-year-old victim.
yeah,
There's other people who have had young
yeah,
child victims.
yeah,
I think about, like I know we've talked about Secret Lives of Moral Wives before, but this is different, I
yeah,
promise.
yeah,
I think about Michaela who, was sexually assaulted by whoever it was,
yeah,
and that started when she was a child. Like, I think about people in those circumstances that need something like this to
mhm.
protect themselves. I hear what you're saying about age, but unfortunately, we live in a world where children are not safe either from people like that. So
Well,
imagine how
here, I
helpful it would be to
y
have something that can help protect them.
mhm. So, I like like, I somewhat I do agree, but there's also parents have taught kids different defensive or, systems for kids to get away from creeps,
How
like that.
um,
There's been a situation where parents have taught their kids how to get away from creeps, like, knock the door or, different situations or, uh, say something or tell a teacher or tell somebody or etc.
we've been
Uh, be
having those conversations for decades. That's not
but
new.
I just don't think kids are s I just don't think kids should have pepper spray at all.
I disagree.
I don't think so, 'cause that could go a lot of ways.
I disagree.
Uh,
I really
uh,
do. I'm sorry. I
uh,
disagree.
I'm gonna
Because if I'm
I
sorry, if
just
you have people that hang around schools and like we talked about Elizabeth Smart, right? We talked about her during this time. We talked about Elizabeth Thomas as well. Both of them were children when they were kidnapped.
mm,
So,
mm,
Elizabeth Smart, I believe she was how old was she again? She was 14
mhm,
when she was kidnapped.
mhm,
Elizabeth Smart, she was 15, 16 when she had her perpetrator taking advantage of her, you know? Like, this isn't this is this is never going to unfortunately, it's not gonna change that,
mhm.
young girls and women are being, you know, perpetrated by these in some way. It's never changing
And
unless, people can teach their sons
mhm.
different, but it's never going to change really because, like so what are we supposed to do when those people aren't teaching their sons how to act? And some of it's out of your control, okay? Some of it's out of your control, and I get that. But if these men aren't doing different to respect women's space, then what do we have left to do but to protect ourselves from these people? That's the
T
thing. You don't want the pepper spray into children's hands, then men need to do different. Men need to act different. And I'm
so
not saying you.
Mhm,
You're the
mhm,
exception.
mhm. I understand, like, there's men that are gonna, be different
We're
than
not the
I am.
problem.
I
We're trying to protect ourselves.
I understand that, I 100%, but when it gets in the hands of kids, it's kind of like that's kind of a gray area,
I
right?
disagree.
It's a gray area
I disagree.
in my
And
to
again,
disagree.
you're
We just
generalizing
yeah,
an entire age group
eh,
based on a few different bad apples, which happens, right? But me at 10, I would never have thought that pepper spray was a toy. Never would have thought that. And I don't know many
there
people who were
there's
in my friendship group who would have thought pepper spray was a toy. I am not saying that there aren't some that would have. Absolutely. I know a few that I went to school with
That's
that definitely would have thought of it as a toy. But then guess what? Those are not the ones that it's meant for. And again,
mhm,
that is up to those parents. You know your child. If you know your child is responsible enough to handle something like that, fine. Because again, it's not like a 10-year-old can just get pepper spray by themselves. No, the parent has to get them for them.
mhm,
And if you as a parent know, your child is, mature enough and
mm,
understands the importance of this,
mhm.
then go for it and make sure your child's being protected. If your child does not understand the importance of it, then don't get it for them. Point blank, period.
Someone can just well, from your logic, someone can just buy at a store randomly and just get it without any
I
teachings or training.
Again, what I'm saying is that I'm not saying that it needs to be readily available to everybody. That's not what I'm asking for.
Mhm, mhm.
There are ways that you can do this without it being readily available to people. Um, and the problem is it's not just about um how you're getting it. That's not the biggest problem here. The problem is that it's not even legal for us to have it in the first
Oh,
place,
no, I'm just yeah, that's
right?
what I'm saying, but
But you can regulate that in how it's being sold. You don't have to have it being sold, in a convenience store or something or in a Walmart or whatever. Like, no, that's not that's
I
not at
mean,
all what I was
that's
asking for.
oh, I mean, that's you're saying that, like, everybody should get it, and,
No,
that's
that's not what I said. Yes, not what I said.
and I'm
I
saying
didn't
that
say everybody needed to have
yeah,
it. Actually, you
yeah,
were saying that it can be readily available to everybody if that's what we're gonna do. But that's not what I said. What I said is
mm,
that it needs to be available to those people who need it, who feel like they need it to protect themselves.
but
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying every Tom, Dick, and Harry should be having pepper spray.
but
I'm
that's
saying people who need it to protect themselves.
yeah, but how
But that's not for us.
what is the requirement for that? Like, what is
But that is not for us to determine. If I wanna get it for my safety, dependent on whatever that safety is for me, then I will get that if I so choose.
mm,
If someone else wants to get it for another X, Y, or Z, then that is their decision, then that's for them to figure out. If a parent decides that they want to get this for their child because let's say they live in a high risk neighborhood you know, or like they live in Jane and Finch or something. Like, they live in a high risk neighborhood and
mm,
or they have, you know, different things that are going on within the school that poses a risk to their child's safety. That is a decision that they need to they that's their decision. Listen, me in elementary school, no purpose for me to have pepper spray. I didn't feel like I was unsafe. Even with that whole thing with this man walking around or whatever,
mhm.
I still didn't feel unsafe, generally speaking. It probably wasn't until I hit high school where I'm like, anything could happen at any point in time. And that whole situation with those two guys, that freaked me out. And that was nearly 20 years ago, and I'm still freaked out by the whole thing. Like, I literally just told my mom, like, a month ago that that happened. She didn't even know. And her response to that was, "I didn't know that happened. Why didn't you say something?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I don't know why I didn't say anything." The only person who knew was my friend, and that's that. And just just didn't talk
Would
about it.
would you be able to just go to a principal and just tell 'em?
Tell them
Like,
what?
tell them what happened at the school in a situation like that?
Well, that wasn't near the school. This was during summer. So,
Oh,
when that
okay,
happened to me.
alright, okay, I thought it was in school, my bad,
No,
sorry.
but
Alright, so, yeah, no.
I'm gonna be very, honest with you here. I don't know what you think authority is going to necessarily do and how
Mm,
you think that is going to necessarily de-escalate anything. It could
I
actually
mean
make things worse.
I mean
If that was
I
that
if
easy,
poss
everyone would be reporting to the police. Then it
I
doesn't
wouldn't
always
say
get
I
that
wouldn't say the
way.
police. I wouldn't say I feel like it happened in the school. I would say like, in the school, like, uh, a principal would probably do something, but
Can I
the
say something?
yeah.
This is this is, um, more than I expected to talk about today.
Yeah.
But when so TMI, y'all, for this conversation. When I lost my virginity at 15, for whatever reason, my friends who I trusted
Mhm,
thought it would be a good idea to take that information, which was I didn't want to tell anybody, but one of
mhm,
my
mhm, mhm,
friends
mhm,
forced it out of me. And her and another one, two people you know, but I'll leave them nameless right now.
yeah,
Two of them decided they're gonna have a competition of to how many people they could tell.
okay,
So meanwhile, I don't know this is happening, but I'm starting to realize that people are looking at me weird or saying things to me that allude to them knowing about this, and I don't even know how they know. And it got to a point where I was uncomfortable going to
mhm,
school that I didn't want to go. And to the point where we were having to have like the VP down to the principal.
mhm,
Mr. Fuck got involved in this situation, okay? So I had that going on. I had other things going on as well
mhm, mhm,
within my family dynamic at the time as
mhm,
well.
mhm, mhm,
And I'm dealing with all of these different things. The VP didn't do anything about it. What did you want them to do? They couldn't do anything. And although that's a different scenario than when I'm
mhm,
like we were talking about, it's the scenario of there's only so much that they can do to rectify or stop a situation from happening that is completely out of their control and out of mine.
mhm,
And, you know, I would have never known that that was happening unless a friend of mine told me
mhm,
what was
mhm,
happening. He's the reason I knew what was going on. And I'm like,
mhm,
what the hell?
mhm,
That's, I think, I don't give a lot of I don't give a lot
right,
to authority generally. I learned fairly quickly in high school that authority can't always do everything, and sometimes they don't wanna
mhm,
do anything,
mhm,
and that was the whole situation. Like,
mhm,
until everybody knew, and because he was also we talked about this too, because he was older, like, it never should have happened older,
mhm,
like, he should have been put in prison older. That's why me and I'll say her name this time, but I'll block it out. That's why me and Sam stopped being friends, because of something I didn't have any
mhm,
control over, and other
mhm,
people were telling her my business, because I never told anything. So, who protected me in that situation? Nobody.
y
Not the school, not my friends, nobody. No one protected me.
yeah, listen, I
Now,
understand
it's a
that
different scenario, like I said, but
there's been different situations that has happened to, like, a lot of people, like, authorities don't help. Like, we've been taught from our parents to just, like, if anything happens to us, either tell the principal, or sorry, either tell the teacher or the principal. Most likely, the teacher will go to the principal, and the principal, they do some type of meeting with you or the parent,
yeah,
or,
I've been stabbed in the foot
etcetera,
by telling a teacher stuff as
right?
well. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I don't
yeah,
trust
yeah,
that.
uh,
And I know they had to,
yeah.
but I do not trust it.
Yeah,
So,
I would say around 50% of it does work. I would say 50%,
sure.
probably a little bit more, but, like, a little bit more. I'm not saying that it's completely it does help,
Didn't
but
really work for me, so sure.
yeah, I know, but, probably worked with a lot of people in a
Maybe.
but yeah, but I understand. I 100% understand that. And then I wouldn't even no offense, I wouldn't even tell any of my friends because like
No, in
at
that
first I wouldn't.
scenario, I didn't wanna tell anybody.
Yeah,
But I
because
think I kind of told you this before
yeah,
because that was
yeah,
during the whole Halloween shooting situation.
yeah, yeah.
I didn't go to school because there
Mhm,
was the whole
mhm,
rumor that the school was gonna get shot up or something,
mhm, mhm, mhm,
and I'll say her name, but I'll block it out.
mhm,
Again, she that day was like, "Oh, what did you do?" And she kept, like, pushing me and pushing me because
mhm,
I was a very nosy ass person. She kept pushing and pushing and pushing. She wasn't taking my non-answer or,
mhm,
whatever answer I was giving her in the moment, she was not taking that as the
mhm,
answer,
mhm,
and I yelled it out and said, "And I lost my virginity," and
mhm,
that's
mhm,
what happened, and I'm like, now I have to worry about whether or not she's gonna tell everybody because me and friendship was very new at the time.
mhm,
We had only maybe known each other for 2 months at that time, and I'm like, I don't know her well enough to know if she's going to not say anything to anybody. And lo and behold, she proved me right.
mhm,
And she told again, I'll say the name, I'll block it out. She told Alicia, she told everybody, she told this person, she told that person, told this person, she told that person. That's why me and her are friends. So it's like
mhm,
that is what happened. But at
mhm,
the end of the day, when I'm like not wanting to go to school
mhm.
because I don't feel safe, I don't feel comfortable, I don't want to
Yeah,
be there anymore.
yeah.
And again, this is only my second year of high school. I hated high school because of that.
Mhm,
That shaped the rest of my experience in high school.
mhm,
And honestly, like you may disagree with this, but honestly, it probably wasn't until I met that I like that switched for me and I was able to kind of enjoy the experience of high school a little bit. But I still didn't really fully trust anybody. And no one protected me.
mhm,
That's the bottom line here is I didn't feel protected. The only person that maybe made me feel protected was the person who told me what was going on because he thought this it was that
mhm,
people were making such a big deal about this, and he's the only reason that I knew what was going on, and
mhm,
that's maybe it, but otherwise, like, I didn't feel safe. No one had my
mhm,
back,
mhm.
not the school,
Yeah.
not anybody. So, I think what I'm trying to get at here is,
Mhm,
yeah, the authority is there.
mhm,
We learn that the authority
mhm,
is there, you can go
mhm,
to them,
mhm,
but then you also learn very quickly that the authority isn't always there for you. There's a difference between they're there and them being there for you and advocating for you. It's 2 very different things. So,
yeah, well, like, I'm sorry that you went through that as well, but
yeah.
yeah, yeah, I just I yeah, but
But ultimately, what we were getting at here
yeah, yeah, yeah,
is, my thing is women's safety, transgender safety.
mhm,
That is my reason for this.
mhm,
Hell, even men, I think especially men who are interested in other men, I think that that is I'm sorry, straight men, you're fine, but
uh,
no,
you don't know,
you're fine in comparison.
you don't not every straight man
I
is
asked
like
you a
us, right?
question.
Yeah,
If you
not
feel unsafe walking
li
down the street,
li
you told me
listen,
no.
no, but
That
not
is not a
every
reality
hold on,
for
not
everyone else.
every straight man feels safe. There's some straight men who are just
Okay, well,
basically
here's the
don't feel
difference. Here's the
yeah,
difference.
yeah.
Here, let me clarify. White straight men
No.
feel
Every
a safe no, I disagree
every
with you.
everybody.
They feel a different type of safety than black men do. Black men have a fear very different than what women go through, but it's still a legitimate fear of Am I gonna get pulled over? Is a cop gonna
I
pull me over? Like,
I
or is a white person gonna attack because I look the way I do? That's a different type of thing, and I validate that because I worry about that with my boyfriend as well.
I
He's a tall black
yeah.
man. I
Yeah,
worry about that for him.
I I understand that situation though. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just talking about like in general. Like a man might well, I don't know, might need to use a pepper spray as well.
I
But
don't know about that.
I'm not sure. But usually use a gun.
I
But
don't think
like
a man has to
but
worry about walking down the street and being
but you
attacked by somebody.
but usually they use
Usually.
a gun or or their fist. One
Yeah.
of those two.
Yeah, but
But
again, they
like
are
so there's
able to
some.
protect themselves.
Yeah, yeah, but
Women
there's
are
some that
not.
just don't know how to. They don't know how to
Sure,
protect themselves,
sure, sure. But
you know?
again, I just feel like the majority, I'm not saying all, but the majority of white cis men do not have the same fears that
Mhm.
others do. And trust me when I say, when I listen to podcasters and I listen to white, straight, cis men, they all will agree with what I am saying. They have a privilege that they are well aware of that others
Yeah,
do not have.
yeah.
It's and the privilege, changes between, whatever, like, privilege of a white woman is very different than the lack of privilege of a black woman. Same thing as I just mentioned with black men and white men. It's a different type of privilege, but you as a man, forget the color of your skin, you have a privilege that I don't and that other women don't.
Mhm.
But as a black man, you have a disadvantage than a white man does. And it's unfortunate, but that's the reality. So that's what I'm trying to say is that
Yeah, yeah.
we deserve to have protections.
Mhm.
There are things that you can
Yeah,
use now for sure, yes,
I
but isn't enough. That's
I
my question.
yeah, yeah, like I said, like I said, I feel like it's a gray area, and
Mhm.
I understand that the government struggle to look into it. Like, there's a lot of
But my
situations just
question,
'cause
are they struggling or are they stalling?
it
I
could be
can
both.
I can I
It could be
can
both. It could be both. It could be
yeah,
both.
but I don't think so. I think it's in this case, it's one or the other. It's one or the other.
Because,
I
like,
can appreciate a
we
struggle. I
we
can
just talked
appreciate a stall.
yeah, we just talk about the situation that could happen, right? So they're probably saying the same
There are
thing,
ways to regulate that.
right?
And that's what I mean by, are they stalling or are they struggling? Because
I
I
mean,
don't think it's hard to regulate that.
when did
So,
when did pepper spray came off the streets? Do you
I
I
don't
don't
think they ever really were allowed on the streets in the first place.
okay, so the Stephen Harper government didn't even look at it either. So, like,
Well, I'm not just talking Stephen Harper.
or
This
Justin
goes way,
Trudeau.
way, 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 way back. I don't
Oh,
think it's
okay.
ever
Okay.
been legal
Yeah,
in Canada, at least. I think
yeah.
it is legal in the States, but it's not legal here. So, or even in the States, that might be state by state, but it's not legal here in Canada. I don't think it's ever been legal in
Mhm,
Canada.
mhm,
So I think that's the difference is that's why I'm trying to explain. We've been through the 60s, we've been through the 70s,
mhm,
we've been through the
mhm.
80s of women being victimized, and nothing is changing to protect women's safety. So if they're having conversations about pepper spray being introduced into a way to defend women
There's
and the
still
government is stalling on
it
that I have a problem with.
I mean, it's still getting women who get victimized in America, so, like, I don't
Yes,
know what
but again, like
to
I
say
said, I
about that.
said it's probably state by state, so I'm not sure which states
Okay,
are
that's true.
legalizing that, and I don't
Oh,
know
that's
when it's
possible.
been legalized. Maybe it wasn't legalized in the '70s, and now it's been since then. We don't know because in the '70s, God, it was
Mm,
tough to be a woman. Let's put it that way. It's tough to be
yeah,
a woman. We've had to have a lot of women die to have change happen, and that's also the other frustrating aspect. How many women have to be hurt or killed for change to happen? How many?
Mhm,
I don't see men having to go through that. Women have to
mm,
go through that, or transgendered people have to go
mm.
through that. How many of us have to be killed for change to happen? Are we that indisposable? Yeah, so anyway, so how many women have to be disposed of in order to enact change? Personally, you feel how you feel, and that's fine. How I feel is, like I've said, I'm for Duck for trying to enact change to protect women. And I don't care how old they are. I don't care. And again, I say women, but I also mean anyone who truly needs that defense that they're not getting otherwise. So, yeah. Not everyone. I mean, yeah, go ahead and do a self-defense course or whatever. I I I'm for that. I've done that too. Um but yeah, you also don't know how you're going to act in the moment. So, you may, you know,
Yeah. Yeah, no, like, I'm all for it being like, for protecting people. I'm also, like, it it just has to have, like, regulations
and
towards
I
it as
agree
well.
with you.
So,
I agree
so
with you. I just
but it
disagree
needs to
with
be
what the regulations
yeah,
you think it
yeah,
should happen.
so
But I do
yeah,
agree there should be regulations.
yeah, yeah, so there needs to be stronger, but I understand, like, they're either is possibly struggling or struggling with it. So I understand because we talked about it. So, like, it's I don't know what it is. I don't know, like you said, like, some states are legalizing or look at it as illegal. I don't know the number of the states, like you said.
I'm
Maybe
not sure.
they think the same thing, as Canada, right? So, like, they don't know. They don't know. Maybe it's a gray area for them too. So, um, yeah, because do they make it more accessible or do they make it less accessible, right? So, like, because like you said, you don't want them in like Walmart and etc. So that's like less. Because Walmart's in like every like state, every province here as well. So at the end of the day, that's like, less accessibility for somebody to get it. So are you
You
saying
can
that it
go on
should be like in
Amazon. Like, you can do that too because I think you can get pepper spray on Amazon.
mhm, mhm.
So,
Okay. Okay. Okay, cool.
here's the deal with pepper spray in the
Mhm.
States. Pepper spray is legal for self-defense in all 50 states and Washington, D.C., but it is subject to strict varying regulations regarding
Okay.
age. So you were saying age,
There you
canister
go.
size, and formulation according to Sabre and the Times Herald. Generally, you must be over 18,
Fantastic.
have no felony convictions, and use
Fantastic.
it for protection.
That's exactly probably what they're struggling with right now. But they should look into that in the States. They should look into
But
that.
then, if that's there, then, and we have the states as a precedent, then why
Yeah,
isn't that happening?
they're probably not looking into it. They're probably not, like, looking to do I'm not sure. I'm not really sure if they're looking into what the states are doing. We should, but, um, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
so, like, again,
they're either like I said, they're either probably struggling with it, or they're
but
possibly either
I just don't
stalling with
think
it.
it's necessary to be struggling this hard with it. I think
It's
that's what I'm saying, especially if, like, the states has
or they
figured it out.
don't wanna deal with it at all. So, like
But,
I
yeah,
said, they ban like, I think Canada banned handguns as well. So, like,
we've never had the right to
uh
bear arms.
really? I
No,
thought that we did. So why the hell do we have people killing each other? I know they're illegal, but it comes from
they're
an illegal
illegal.
place.
They're being smuggled in. What do
Yeah,
you mean?
yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. But like,
Yeah, no, it's
yeah,
not that
yeah,
hard to
yeah,
get your hands on a gun.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Um,
So.
So, yeah, it's just you can buy,
Mhm,
like, a firearm in a sense if you're doing, like,
mhm,
hunting.
mhm, mhm,
You can get a permit for that for those
mhm,
purposes, but
mhm,
you don't as, like, in the terms of states, you we do not have the right to bear arms. And it's
mhm,
the same thing in, like, I think in the UK, not just England. I
mhm,
think in the UK, same thing, you don't have the right to bear arms.
mm.
So and the difference, though, with the UK is there aren't a lot of guns on the streets versus here in Canada. What's the
Right, I
common
heard that.
denominator? The
Yeah, I heard
states.
that, yeah. Okay, yeah, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's, like I said, like, I think Canada is just one of those, like, countries that are, uh, try like, I'm not saying they're weapon-free country, right? But, um, they're trying to make this place as and, like I said, it's a gray area, safe as possible. So, even if you disagree or agree with that, ah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah.
again, like,
So
there are legal alternatives for self-defense is personal alarm, so that means devices that emit a high decibel noise, which, I've never had, but my mom I know my mom's had one. Um, Safety apps, smartphone apps designed to alert contacts or authorities.
mhm.
Again, that's something you would have to do quickly under the circumstances. Or again, self-defense training. But again, it's like, worrying about the safety of people. You could still really hurt a person, um, and still it's still considered assault. You can still really hurt a person. But again, it's not to say that pepper spray isn't available in this country. It is, but it's only available to those people who are allowed to have it. Because remember when I don't know if I mentioned it actually on the podcast, but I had mentioned one time when me and my mom went to St. Mike's Hospital and a person had come in after being pepper sprayed. Most likely by a security guard or the police, but I think it was a security guard, and they were pepper sprayed. But I remember them saying, "Dude, you're fine. Just go in there, mist your eyes out. There are things that they can also give you to help with the pepper spray, um, to, help it go away and dissipate or whatever. There are things that can be done." And that's all I'm saying. Like, pepper spray isn't a death sentence. It doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna lose your sight. It just means you might have to go to the hospital and rinse your eyes out. That's I just don't see an issue with that. Um, if they do wanna go the age route and, fine, whatever, but, there are ways that you can regulate that we see the states doing that, and I just don't understand why Canada can't figure something out that's either just like what they have or similar
Mhm.
to regulate it. And clearly this is in discussion if Doug Ford is saying, the government's stalling
Oh,
on it.
it's in discussion. He probably sent something or, probably sent
I'm
something to the
curious how long it's been in
Premier.
discussion for him
Uh,
to say it's stalling.
I don't. He's
Mhm.
probably I
That's the thing
the
we don't
only
know.
the only person I heard from is probably only him, but,
Mhm.
none of the premiers have said
No.
anything or, and
And again, it could federally, legalizing it doesn't necessarily mean that it's gonna happen in every single province.
mhm,
I can probably comfortably say as long as Doug Ford is still in the premier's office, that he will most likely legalize it here in Ontario.
yeah,
But that doesn't necessarily mean that all
yeah,
provinces are going to
yeah,
legalize
I
it.
agree with it or, like,
Right.
there's one woman into the who's a premier, Danielle Smith, I believe, she's
Yeah,
the
that's
premier of
familiar.
Alberta.
Yeah.
I'm not I haven't heard anything. She hasn't said anything
Well,
about it. So, like,
you'd be
yeah,
surprised that just because there's a woman involved does not necessarily mean that they're for. protecting
Yeah, for
women. You'd
that,
be
for
surprised.
no, no, I seen that before, like, I seen that in
Yeah,
the US, so, like, yeah,
yeah.
there's and also lawyers
Women
as
will
well,
blame
so
other women for things all the time.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's
so
it's quite sickening actually, but whatever.
yeah, yeah,
Sometimes the women are worse than the men when it comes
uh,
to
yeah.
advocating for
They
women.
they're the thing is they possibly think that, like, you we have they want the truth, right? The truth comes first, and yes, there's, like, a gray area between love, like, don't believe all women, and then there's another believe all women, right? So, like, they want some of those women want to know the truth versus you versus, like, there's some women that say believe all women. So, mm,
I I think there can be a gray area with that depending on, what's going on.
mhm,
There we've seen it. There have been women who have lied about circumstances.
mhm,
I think
mhm,
of, what's her name? Papini. I think about her and yikes, she lied about being kidnapped. I mean, it happens.
mhm,
But I don't think there's a huge majority of women who are out here gone girling themselves or something or
mhm.
lying about being, you know, assaulted in some way.
Yeah,
That's not the majority of women. There are some, absolutely, but that's not the majority of women. Because
yeah,
I don't see a lot of women lying. That happens.
well,
It happens.
yeah, it happens, and that's why I think a lot of women who are, like, lawyers or women in general want to just put put the truth over, something
Oh,
that's like,
lawyers are different.
I mean,
Lawyers are
lawyers
always
or
gonna want the truth.
the truth
Yeah, no,
over,
lawyers are different.
like, over lawyers or women in general want the
Mhm.
truth over something that's, the 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 saying of believe all women. So,
Yeah,
like,
because
but
lawyers
no,
are critical. They're critical
yeah,
thinkers.
yes, yes. So, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I think
So,
honestly any professional in the legal industry, we are
yeah,
critical thinkers.
yes.
Um,
So, so
but you don't always lead with your emotion.
yeah,
Um,
and that's probably what it is in terms of a lot
yeah.
of people. Well, I mean, like, there's some people who are not lawyers who are also critical thinkers as well.
Yes,
So,
yes,
like,
yes, yes, yes.
women. So,
I'm just
like,
saying most
yeah,
lawyers for the most
yeah,
part, I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
yeah, are
yeah,
critical
yeah,
thinkers.
yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's why, you know, because like I said, it's a gray area in terms of, like, women who don't believe in other women
Mhm.
except because, of that, right? So I
Yeah,
know
but
we went to
there's
a
also that
yeah,
religious aspect
yeah.
and whatever
Oh,
party
that's
you
another
affiliate
that
yourself with
yeah,
aspect.
that's
There's many different aspects.
well, that's a whole
That's a different
different
conversation for another time.
yeah, that's it, yeah. I know we went, like, off speaking off topic, we
Yeah,
talked about a lot
and I
of
didn't even do the bonus topic. We're gonna
yeah,
probably
we're
skip that
gonna
for now.
talk about that another episode. So, like, basically, yeah, we apologize if we went to, another universe, with the whole, like, Doug Ford and the civil, uh, civil rights charters, right? Is that right? Right? Of
Charter rights and freedoms.
charter rights and freedoms. My bad. So we apologize. We went that another way, another story, etc. So hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of the conversation that we just had here. So yeah. Um, anything else, Tanika, or you wanna just
I'm good.
you good?
I'm good.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'm Mikel and
Well, yeah,
blah blah blah.
we have our outro, so that will be
Yeah,
playing
yeah, yeah.
after.
All right.
But we'll be back on
Yeah.
Wednesday. Actually, we're gonna be doing our bonus episode, so we'll be back on Wednesday.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Peace.
Bye. Hi, everyone. I'm coming here at the end to go through our bonus topics. So, a statue of Trump and Epstein was reenacted Titanic pose, and that appeared on the National Mall. So, a gold colored statue inspired by the Titanic pose has appeared on the National Mall, but instead of portraying Jack supporting Rose from behind as she pretends to fly, I'm flying, Jack, it depicts President Trump and the deceased sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. A plaque at the statue's base reads, "The tragic love story between Jack and Rose was built on luxurious travel, rigorous parties, and secret nude sketches. This monument honors the bond between Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, a friendship seemingly built on luxurious travel, rigorous parties, and secret nude sketches." The statue, which appeared a little bit ago, shows Mr. Trump gazing at Mr. Epstein as he held his outstretched arms, is the latest in a series of satirical statues that have appeared in Washington since October of 2024, just before the presidential election. Many of the installations, including this one influenced by the movie Titanic and Mr. Trump's friendship with Epstein, were created by an anonymous group of artists called the Secret Handshake. An artist from the Secret Handshake told the New York Times that the group began brainstorming ways they could depict Mr. Trump as a king and landed on perhaps the most memorable line in the film when Jack Dawson, Leonardo DiCaprio, shouts off the ship's bow, "I'm the king of the world." Add the iconic pose, which Jack replicated later in the movie with Rose DeWitt Buke. Whoa, why is the name not coming to me? Whatever. Kate Winslet. The statue titled "The King of the World" was a cheeky way of drawing attention to the Trump administration's handling of the Epstein files. The statue is permitted to be on the National Mall, which is overseen by the National Park Service through, whatever night this was. Might have been gone now. In an email to the New York Times, Abigail Jackson, who is a White House spokesperson, called the artists wealthy Democrat donors who should create statues of Democratic lawmakers who solicited money and meetings from Mr. Epstein after he was convicted of sex crimes. Dynamic SRG, a New York City fundraising firm, repeatedly asked Mr. Epstein to make contributions to the campaigns of some of New York's top Democratic politicians from 2012 to 2014. The firm also offered Mr. Epstein access to exclusive gatherings in exchange for donations. A Times review of campaign finance records found no evidence of donations from Mr. Epstein to any prominent New York candidate during the span. Mr. Trump has repeatedly denied any wrongdoing in connection to Mr. Epstein and has long downplayed his relationship with him, which began in the late 1980s. That's basically it. I'm not going to go into much more about it. But that's basically it for the episode. If you liked what you heard with our podcast, you can head on over to our website, which is solo.to/next take podcast. There you can get any of the links to any of our social media, which is Facebook, Instagram at Next Take Podcast, and Twitter, TikTok, and Blue Sky at Next Take Pod. You can also find links to our Reddit page and many other things, I'm sure. Can't remember all the top of my head. You can also email us at mikeltanyka@gmail.com. There you can send us any inquiries that you have, any questions, or also any episode ideas. And if you do have episode ideas, just make sure you put in the subject line "episode ideas," and we'll add it to our list. If you also liked us, you can like us, rate us, follow us on any of your favorite podcast apps. You can rate us, however, on Spotify and Apple Podcast. We would greatly appreciate that. And we'll also move forward and share or spot a light on those who give us 5-star ratings in the future. That is it for us. We'll see you next time for the episode.